Hello and welcome back to Radio Free Decipher. This is Kyle Heuer, and with me as always is Mr. Evan Lorentz.
How's it going, Kyle?
Very good, sir, very good. We have some exciting stuff today. We're going to be talking with Joe Boulden from our art department about a lot of things that are going on down here. And say hello, Joe.
Hello, howdy, howdy.
Excellent.
Good to have you with us.
We're going to be talking about DecipherCon real quick, give you some updates, some Death Star 2 pre-release updates, and then we're going to be, for all those of you that are very anxiously awaiting the Death Star 2 cards, we are going to be spoiling 3 of the cards on today's Radio Free Decipher. So be sure and look forward to that.
All right, so let's start off with some info about DecipherCon. I know those of you at long last have seen on the website this week, we've been able to announce a venue for that event. We're going to be holding it in Kissimmee, near Orlando, right there with Walt Disney World out your back door.
You're going to be donning the mouse ears?
Yeah, I'm a festive type, so I'll be putting on the mouse ears.
All right.
That'll be October 5th through the 8th. A lot of people, I imagine, are going to be staying on a couple extra days to take in some of the sites down there, but it's going to be a really excellent time.
I can't wait to go to Gator World, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's a big
Maybe go down there and see where they filmed that James Bond film, or was that Louisiana?
I don't know. Didn't they have a longboat jump or something? I don't know.
It's going to be a good time, though. And long before that, though, we've got a whole season of summer cons to get through, and the first one of those, of course, again, remind everybody, Dragon Con.
Death Star 2 pre-release there.
Yes, as well as the others that are going to be happening.
Yes.
So if you haven't yet seen the information on Death Star 2 pre-release, you'll want to check that out on our website. There is a limited amount of space available in all of those events.
And I've actually been in contact with a lot of those 6 stores that we're doing the pre-releases at, and man, the one up in Albany, New York is over 80 people now, so that's filling up fast. I mean, we're still more than 2 weeks away, and there's like less than 20 people left for that event. Actually, quite a few of the venues have 70 or more people already signed up too, so for those of you that are waiting it out, it might not be such a smart idea, because these venues are starting to fill up really fast, these Death Star 2 pre-releases, so get out there for those.
So a lot of cards and information here today. Fans of Star Trek, of course, so we've already begun to do Trouble with Tribbles cards previewed on the website. Dr. McCoy went up this week. There'll be another card today and continuing into next week. For Star Wars fans, third anthology is wrapped up today.
We're revealing all the last 3 card images for third anthology will be up on the website today, so that's very exciting. That new Dark Side objective, very, very cool. I think that's going to slow down a lot of those Throne Room mains decks, so that'll be really good. So. But now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Of course.
The 3 Death Star 2 cards that we're going to be previewing for you today. So we have 2 of them are effects. One's light, one's dark. They do virtually the same thing, but one for each side of the force, and one big, shiny, happy card that everybody's going to be excited to get. So
tell us all about it.
Well, I might as well start with the big, shiny, happy one, right?
Yeah.
It's Home 1. Let me
go
into
light side.
That is a light side card. Let me give you a little bit of. It is unique, as most of you know. You can only have one Home 1 in play at a time. Destiny of 1. It says the flavor text says command ship of the Rebel fleet, 1,200 meters long, masterpiece of aesthetic form, most heavily armed and armored ship in the fleet, Admiral Akbar's personal flagship. Now here comes the good stuff. It is a Mon-Cal Star Cruiser. Deploy of 12. Forfeit of 12, power 9, armor 8, that's going to be tough to take out. So. Hyperspeed of 3. It has all kinds of crazy icons on it, pilots, all kinds of stuff. Now here's the game text for it. May add unlimited pilots, much like the Executor. Passengers, vehicles, and starfighters. So unlimited pilots, passengers, vehicles, and starfighters. Has ship docking capability. Permanent pilots provide total ability of 4. Draws Destiny 4 all by itself. This is a monster. Immune to attrition less than 8.
Wow.
Less than 8. But immune to attrition less than 10 when Akbar is piloting.
So Big Blue's got a little to worry about.
Yeah, Big Blue's got some competition now. This is going to be definitely something that's going to smack the Executor around. So that's pretty strong.
And you mentioned some effects as well.
Yeah, let's start with the dark side one first.
Okay.
It's you cannot hide forever. Now the dark and the light one are going to be very, very similar to each other, but there's going to be one noticeable difference. You cannot hide forever. Destiny of 5. Flavor text is, give yourself to the dark side. It is the only way you can save your friends. Fun.
You have to say it like the Emperor, man.
All right, well,
Actually,
I'm
that
not
was Vader. Sorry.
I'm not quite as skilled as Vader, so.
I just heard a million Star Wars fans screaming Vader said that.
All right, send all those emails to mott@decipher.com. No, I'm kidding.
Thanks, Kyle.
Anyways, it's an effect. Deploy on table. Opponent's Jedi are defense value -1. Goodness. Never tell me the odds is canceled. Period.
Just canceled.
Just canceled. You're not doing inserts with this card.
I think that's
It's
pretty much
canceled.
the end of numbers.
Well, this is the reason why, actually. Check this out. You may place effect in lost pile to take one Endor or Death Star 2 effect that deploys for free into hand from reserve deck and reshuffle.
Wow.
So check this out. If your opponent's not playing numbers, you go, oh, that's all right. I'll just discard it and get any effect I want. So it's sort of like a Twi'lek Advisor or a Narshada Wind Chimes, for those of you that know Star Wars, but it's in an effect form, and that specifically searches for Death Star 2 or Endor effects.
Wow.
Did you get all that?
I got all that. And the light side version?
Well, hang on. The light side version is a little bit different. Your Insight Serve You Well is virtually the same thing. Has a Destiny of 5 as an effect. Luke knew, flavor text is, Luke knew while the dark side was quicker and more seductive, eventually evil would turn on itself. So, now, I'm going to get back to that in just a minute because this is really cool. Now, the game text is deploy on table opponent's Dark Jedi or defense value -1. Scanning Crew and 3,720 to 1 are canceled. So not only does this punish the numbers deck, but it's also going to punish the Scanning Crew deck, which is very, very powerful. Then it goes on and does the same thing. You may place effect in lost pile to take one Endor or Death Star 2 effect that deploys for free into hand from reserve deck. So check this out. You deploy it for free. Then if they're not playing numbers or Scanning Crew, you pop it pop it into your discard pile. Take one new effect that is going to work against them into your hand, and keep going. Now, one of the reasons why we want to talk about this card is because, Joe, this card right here has a very, very cool image. So let's talk about that and some of the other things that are going on with you down there in the art department.
Oh, your insight serves you well. It's a beautiful card. A beautiful card. We've been waiting years to bring this one out. There is one frame in the movie, if you watch the 70mm film go by frame, where Vader is hit by one of the Emperor's lightning bolts, and you can see his skull. It's just gorgeous.
Just one frame.
One
frame in the
frame.
entire movie, and that's the frame that's been pulled for this image.
That's the frame that's been pulled for this image. So this is something you likely have never seen
and
before.
it is, I have to say, it is spooky. I've
really
seen the
is.
picture, and it's very creepy.
So then,
Plasma.
when people get to finally see this card, that was not done by our art department.
No,
That was actually done by Lucasfilm.
Absolutely.
Outstanding.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
There's such a gorgeous little subliminal image stuck in there. I love it.
Wow.
That
Awesome.
is good.
So we'll see that soon, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Well, we'll back up a notch here. I want to talk to you, Joe, about, in general, what type of work do you do here with us? Tell everybody out there who's not familiar with your job.
Okay, well, I'm one of the 5 digital artists working here at Decipher. When we first started out, I guess, with Star Wars Premiere, we were primarily just retouch artists. I mean, we were kind of like art restorers. It was long before Special Edition came out, so you didn't really have those beautiful images coming out of Lucasfilm. You had film stock from the 1970s, and it was
Nice and grainy.
nice and grainy, and it kind of got nasty. The color faded over the years, so we did a lot of color correction and a lot of restoration. As time went on, the film started getting better.
Right.
After that first movie, Lucas had a little bit of political pull, so he managed to get the better color film stocks.
That's good.
So as they started to get better, we had just a little bit more free time on our hands, and we started delving into images in the Lucas archives that for one reason or another hadn't been used, kind of punching them up. And
Any examples of that? Bane Malar, there, I believe, is an example.
No, that's
for
a good
Jabba's
one.
Palace.
Right. Oh, gosh.
Is it Cammy or Fixer that has been done? That was
Cammy. Did not even appear in the film. Actually, her film shot was on the cutting room floor, but
you saved it.
Yeah, we saved it. It's funny because a lot of people insist that they saw that footage. Oh, I remember seeing Fixer. But no, that stuff was never actually aired on TV or in the film, and So a lot of those are practically paintings. I mean, the film stock is from 16 millimeter color film, and there's not much left to it. So.
And then you've progressed on from that to, in some cases now, creating images entirely from scratch.
Oh
correct?
yeah, we have a number of ships and things like that existed in the novels, but images had never actually been created.
Right.
So we went in and we got to design some of those, which was really nice.
So now you're also model builders.
3D model builders, and we were using SGI machines and Maya software, which is the same stuff that Lucas is using to create Jar Jar Binks. And
well, that's great.
So you're able to actually like animate characters and move them around, or have ships that you can rotate in any direction to get the perfect shot.
Yeah, sure
put
are.
against the background, that type of thing.
Which is giving us an incredible amount of flexibility in what we can do now.
Excellent.
So as time goes on here, you're going to start to see some cards that you never expected to see.
Excellent, excellent.
Now, do a lot of the images that are used in your Star Wars cards come from film pulls, from the 70 millimeter?
Oh, the majority of them still do. We have a 70 millimeter film print of each of the 3 primary films, and we have a 70 millimeter editor that we had to have custom made in Germany.
Wow.
One of the few that still exists. And we go through the movie frame by frame trying to find that one image that isn't blurred that we can
I
use.
bet you see a lot of things that the normal Star Wars fan does not see in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, like for instance, Joe, you and I were looking at the Death Star 2 uncut sheets downstairs a little while ago, and we were looking at some of the Rebel pilots that were really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about the Rebel pilots, what you had to do with them. Actually, and Imperial pilots too.
Imperial pilots as well, yeah. In the case of the Rebel pilots, there are all those crowd scenes on the Mon Calamari ships with Mon Mothma and all those. And you have maybe 100 pilots sitting in a one wide shot as a group. We've gone into each one of those individual pilots and zoomed in and seen which ones were usable and cleaned them up. And
any difficult ones?
Which ones weren't?
How long would you say it takes to do something like that, say one image?
One pilot like that takes at least a day of work.
Wow.
Just sitting there chasing out the film grain, eliminating the other pilots in the shot around him, so you've got that, what looks like a portrait of the one
Restoring
pilot.
the background behind the other characters.
Restoring that background, cloning it, using Adobe Photoshop, and it's...
Now, how does this compare to some of the work maybe on Trek cards that are done? Because those obviously do not come from film pulls.
Right, right. Well, in the case of Trek, we get Targas, which come off of the high-res digital tape that comes from Paramount. Earlier on in Next Gen, the images weren't all that good, but they've gotten better progressively. There's still a little bit of that NTSC line kind of thing going through them.
So there's some corrections you have to do even then.
Right, has a little bit of a video look we have to correct for, and video has a much smaller color palette to work with, so the colors aren't all that bright, and we have to enhance them some and sharpen them up.
How about the original series footage? Because we're using some of that really for the first time in The Trouble with Tribbles. Was that more of a challenge?
A little bit more, because the color in that actually had to be digitally enhanced to go into the Deep Space Nine episode. So by the time we're working with it, it's been through a couple of generations and took a little bit of extra tweaking to get it to work.
Also, going back to Star Wars, there's also a new card type in there, and that has an entirely new template as well.
Oh yeah, Admiral's Orders. Those are beautiful. We've got a lot of images going into those that when we looked at them, they just needed to be bigger. I mean, they were beautiful, bright colors and nice, clean action shot.
And the frame really wouldn't hold it.
Right, frame wouldn't hold it, so we kind of had to break out of the box with these, and the whole card template was redesigned so that we could give you bigger images.
Cool. So basically, you cut down on the amount of framing that's done on the card, push all that out, have as little framing as possible, and put in the most picture possible.
Right, absolutely.
Excellent.
And as everybody knows, Jedi has the best action sequences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of maybe a favorite or two from that set that you worked on?
Or memorable cards that you worked on?
There's one that I really like. There's a Star Destroyer deflector array that's blowing up, and
On one of the Admiral's
on
orders?
one of the Admiral's orders, and that thing is great. Yeah. One of the cars we did that was really interesting is we've got a close-up cockpit shot of Luke's cockpit, and to do that, when we went through the archives, we really didn't find anything clear enough. And at the time we were first planning it, the art of Star Wars was at the Smithsonian, so Rob Burns, one of the artists, went up there and created a library of photographs of every model that they had brought up at totally different angles from what was in the existing stuff. So we have a lot of that to draw from too now. And,
so we actually went up to the Smithsonian, took a picture of the X-wing,
right,
and that's on one of the cards.
Right.
That is outstanding. Now let me just make a correction for you here real quick. That's actually Wedge's X-wing, not Luke's X-wing.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Now there's actually been some really cool stuff done with that picture too. I'm not going to quite let everyone know what that is, but
No.
you're going to have to wait to see the card to find out what they did with that one. But it's pretty cool.
So really, you've had a challenge in having such a limited amount of footage to work with, but you've answered it in all these different ways.
Right. We've and to tell you the truth, it's just been a joy.
Yeah.
You feel like you're 12 years old. What am I going to do when I go into work today? Oh, work on X-wings. Okay,
Sounds like a good deal. Now, even for Trek, which has such a vastly larger library, you've done a fair amount of created images for that.
Yeah, we've done a lot of things. Number of space stations for species that hadn't actually been shown in the shows, and a lot of the planets, things like that. In the episodes, you only see like about a quarter of the planet in the corner of the screen.
Right.
We go ahead and render out a painting of the entire thing.
And for Tribbles, there was also some new model work done, renderings of entire ships in three dimensions.
Oh, yeah.
For example, on the chain reaction pulsar card.
Oh, the chain reaction pulsar.
That's pretty cool.
That, for that, we went to extra length. That is actually the Akira model that was used in the series that we took, and
the real model from Paramount.
Deep 3D model from Paramount.
Wow.
Yeah, computer-generated model. And Rob Burns took that and rendered it out and created the CG pulsar image. People are going to be very impressed with that.
That's outstanding. Now you were telling me a really interesting story a little bit earlier about the Luke Skywalker card from Death Star 2. What's that all about?
Oh, we were trying to find the perfect Luke image and from the right part of the movie, and we finally came across the one we liked. Went frame by frame, and he was just moving too much. I mean, he was just very motion blurred, side to side. We found the frame where he wasn't motion blurred, and his mouth was hanging open. And he looked like a fish. So for that one, we ended up having to morph the image to close his mouth.
So you shut his mouth for him?
Shut his mouth for him, right.
And a lot of people, I imagine, wouldn't even have known if you hadn't told them.
No, I was looking at it and I could not tell.
If I do my job right, they don't.
Well, that's an interesting little paradox, isn't it?
Yeah. Fun stuff.
All right. Well, we should probably wrap up here. Thank you so much for letting us in behind the scenes. It's
that was really interesting stuff.
And to the rest of you, we will catch up with you next week on a new Radio Free Decipher. Also want to mention to you that we do answer questions here on the radio show. If you want to email radiofree@decipher.com, we can take a look at some of the questions we get and answer those maybe for you here on the air.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks a lot. We will see you next time.
Have a good weekend.